Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're out at the range with a brand new handgun called the Rex Zero 1, but this one's a compact version, also has an FDE lower frame, which is actually an anodizing. And I just want to talk a little bit about the Rex Zero 1 pistol in general. This handgun surprised me. When I first came across the handgun, when they first started coming into the country, I immediately grabbed one. I grabbed a SIG P226 Legion, and I threw the both of them through the gauntlet, which was the very first gauntlet test we had ever done, which set the precedent for all tests that came after. But this little gun stomped a mud hole in the chest of the SIG pistol and then took us all by surprise. So I thought, what the heck, let's do one more thing to it, right? Let's do 1,000 rounds as fast as I can pull the trigger. Last magazine, 1,000 rounds, no hiccups. I say that, knock on wood.
Woo!
Hallelujah!
Yeah! 1,000 rounds, not a single malfunction.
Not a single malfunction, and the ejection pattern. And I did that, and the little gun didn't have a single hiccup. And so now I was really intrigued about the firearm. The FIME Group has started to import other models. We started off with the original full-size model, which you saw in my original testing. Now we have a compact version, we have a tactical model, and I'll show you some other stuff that'll be going on over in Slovenia, because the guys in Slovenia invited us here at the Military Arms Channel and some other folks in the media over to actually take a look at the factory where these pistols are made. And I couldn't say no to that. I thought, yeah, man, if you're gonna pay my way to Slovenia and let me take a look behind the scenes and see how these things are made, I'm game. And that's what we're gonna do in this video, guys. As soon as we get done shooting this little compact pistol, we're gonna jump a jet and we're heading to Slovenia. But first, I have some 124 grain Freedom munitions, ball ammo, and a brand new, never fired until today, Rex Zero 1 compact pistol. And let's see how this bad boy shoots. Huh, imagine that. It worked flawlessly. Let's head to Slovenia. After spending 9 hours in the air, we were glad to be on the ground in Slovenia. Once we landed, we collected up our gear from baggage claim and headed out to our car so we could drive out to a hunting lodge that was several hours away from the airport. Much of the countryside is wooded. As it turns out, about 60% of the whole country is forested. It's a very small country with a population of roughly 2 million people. We arrived at the hunting lodge, and then I was informed I was going to be able to take a Russian boar. Of course, you can imagine my excitement when I was told I was actually going to be able to hunt in Slovenia. Our hosts were kind enough to give us a Blazer 30-06 rifle. I don't know how much they cost in Slovenia, but in the United States, the Blazer rifles are extremely expensive, so I was somewhat nervous about handling such a nice piece of hardware. We hiked out into the woods quite a ways, and then we found our tree stand, which was probably a good 20 feet in the air. 3 of us climbed up into the tree stand, and we started to wait until a Russian boar stuck its head out. While we were waiting, we saw many fox, we saw a lot of deer, more deer than I think I've ever seen before in my life in one place, but the hogs were elusive. We sat there until almost sunset when the Russian boars started to peek out from the woods after all the other animals had already shown up. We're not allowed to show the actual hunting or the actual kill of the boar according to Slovenian laws. But this is what the pig looks like that we took. Now keep in mind, guys, it was the breeding season and they didn't want to shoot anything other than a male. The sows had piglets and we didn't want to accidentally shoot a sow because that would potentially harm the population of the Russian boar in the countryside. So our guide couldn't cleanly make out the boar and couldn't make the distinction between it and the female sow, so he asked if I would be okay if I took a piglet, and I said yes. I squeezed off the round, I put a single round right behind the pig's ear, and it brought it down cleanly. 2 days later, we got to eat it while we're out at the firing range. As they say, when in Rome, you do as the Romans do. It turns out that in Slovenia, It's a tradition that once you kill a boar, you pick a branch, you break it off, you dip a leaf in the blood of the boar, and you wear it in your hat. It's strange, but it was quite fun. One of the best parts about our trip to Slovenia was the fact that we got to hang out with the guys from Polenar Tactical. So I'm here with my good friend Žiga from Polenar Tactical, and we are in Slovenia. And we came out here, we're the guests of FIME Group and also of AREX, who manufactures the Rex Zero 1 pistol. If you guys haven't watched some of my videos from the past, you may want to go check them out. I stumbled across the Rex Zero 1 pistol, and one of the first things I did with it was compare it to a SIG P226. We did some torture testing. That video got a lot of traction, and other people started talking about it. And of course, that pistol originates here in Slovenia. And you know, before I was ever introduced to the Rex Zero 1 pistol, I couldn't probably find Slovenia on a map. I mean, that's just how uncultured I am. And so it was really interesting when we got the invite. We're here with some other media folks, and AREX and FIME Group collectively did pay for our trip out, but we wanted to come out and see the factory where these pistols are made, because I noticed right off the bat that these handguns were made very well. And I also had seen your factory tour video.
Yeah, of course. So first, where do we start?
How did you?
First, thank you to that you come to Slovenia, to our beautiful country. We are often mixed with Slovakia, but that's a big no-no. Slovakia is somewhere else, near Czech Republic.
So how did you come to be, I mean, obviously you live here, but how did you come to be associated with the Rex Zero 1, and what is your association with the Rex Zero 1 and AREX?
That's a good question. Actually, we came to the story of Rex Zero 1 quite late. With our YouTube channel, you know, we deal a lot with firearms and with firearm manufacturers. And we actually knew about AREX from, I know them from our military. When I was in the military, they did most of our tactical equipment, and they were the importers of the F2000 rifle, because our military uses them. And they also produce parts for the FN. So I knew about them, and I heard that they are producing a new Slovenian pistol. The first cooperation started at IWA in Germany, where they approached us, you know, and they said, oh yeah, guys, you should come to the factory, see how the handguns are made. You can test them out, you know, and then you can decide if you want to cooperate with us. So that's how it started.
Just real quick. So for you that are watching that may not know, because primarily have an American audience, IWA or IWA is the European equivalent of, I would say, SHOT Show.
Yeah,
more of a military flavor, but it's definitely the European version of SHOT Show. So,
yeah, more serious, more military and police orientated, but yeah, it's essentially European SHOT Show. So the good thing was, when we came to the factory, first we were really surprised by, like you know, by the quality of machining. I own a SIG P226, which I think AREX resembles the most. And when I came there the first time, I said, like, no way this can be the SIG. You know, SIG it's a German manufactured gun. It's high quality one. You know, I really liked mine. It was reliable. But just seeing everything machined, you know, the cold hammer forged barrels, their testing, you know, and then they just gave us a big box, like this kind of box of ammo, and just said, you can be here for a couple of hours, just test it, you know. No, that's what first.
That's a lot of confidence, right? Like,
yeah.
Here, just go shoot as much as you want.
Yeah.
AREX was founded in 1994. Our main business is defense industry. We are working with military contracts, but a couple of years ago we decided to go with the final product under our own brand, Rex Firearms, which is the Rex Zero 1. So that's how we started with this family, and we are glad and proud to present you this our product together with our partners FIME Group from the United States.
I echo Žiga's comments regarding just how modern the AREX factory is. Being that Slovenia has only been around since 1991 with the breakup of Yugoslavia, which is a former Warsaw Pact country, I didn't know what to expect. What I found was an extremely modern factory with the latest and greatest multi-axis CNC machines. They manufacture and maintain their own tooling for those machines. And I also found out that the AREX factory makes parts for their own military service rifles. So the AREX factory has a long history of manufacturing, not just in firearms, but in other areas. But they also have been a small arms manufacturer for quite some time. The factory's grown in size. Our hosts had told us that they had been there the year before, and since their last trip, the size of the company in terms of the square footage that the modern machinery is taking up had doubled. It does look like a completely modern factory. It certainly matches the capabilities of the most modern factories I've toured in the world, and I was quite impressed. One of the interesting details that I found while touring the factory was the fact that each gun has what they call a birth certificate. This certificate follows the gun through every step of the manufacturing process, and it tracks its progress through the manufacturing stages, but it also is a quality assurance tool. So here's an example of what this looks like. This is and then you have the numbers on each of the guns, which corresponds to a number on the birth certificate. This birth certificate is something I have not seen in other factories. Quality assurance is one of those things that is critical in producing a quality product, including firearms. So I always take particular interest in this aspect of manufacturing. The AREX factory cold hammer forges their barrels. This includes their handgun barrels for the Rex Zero 1 pistols. They have a number of different tests to make sure that the barrels meet their specifications. They have a visual test to make sure that the bore is clean and shiny, but they also have tools, measuring tools, that they drop down the bore, which are basically go, no-go gauges. This type of testing is something that I've not seen in other factories. I'm not saying it doesn't take place, but it was certainly interesting to see at the AREX factory. The AREX factory had manufactured a special purpose machine to subject their handguns to rigorous testing. Every 1,000 pistols goes through this test, and it tests for 30,000 cycles of the handgun, both in single action and double action mode. As you can see, right now it's testing the double action mode. It's just pulling the trigger over and over again. You can also test for single action mode, where now it's cycling the slide, resetting the hammer, and pulling the trigger. So that's just one of the many quality assurance steps that's taken here at the AREX factory. I've toured other manufacturing facilities, and I will say that the manufacturing here is very modern. And so when I inquired as to how old the company was and how much it has grown, just since 2014 to present, they've expanded tremendously and expanded into once was empty spaces in the factory and all of its new modern machines, CNC machines and wire EDM cutting machines and quality assurance machines. And these are all the same machines I've seen in companies such as Beretta, which is a 500-year-old firearms manufacturer with relatively new manufacturing facilities in the United States. I've toured that, and what I found here, I found very similar manufacturing machines and adherence to quality assurance standards. But another thing that came up in one of the meetings this morning was that Slovenia and just the European countries in general have very strict requirements for various products that must be adhered to. And so that plays a part into why the Rex Zero 1 pistol has the finally made parts that it has, because all European countries that produce firearms
that is partially
mil
true.
spec.
That is partially true, but I think the biggest motivator here, maybe not the biggest, I don't know like from first hand, but I think it was a big motivator, was this is the first actual Slovenian handgun, So it carries some pride, and if they would do that badly, if the gun wouldn't function properly, you know, it could be a very, very, very bad publicity for the company.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, it's like, is it a cultural thing or something, but we are very proud because it's like the first Slovenian handgun, you know, and we're a young country, a relatively young country, you know, we were part of Yugoslavia and then we became finally independent, and so that means a lot to us.
Despite the fact that the AREX factory has plenty of modern CNC type machinery on hand, they still maintain some classic old manual tooling. And they use this tooling to train younger generations. AREX has an interesting program where they reach out to local high schools and bring the students in, and then they start to teach them how to be machinists and how to manufacture. But they start them off with manual processes, you're learning on manual equipment, before they start to teach them CNC. It's much like teaching a new shooter to use iron sights before introducing optics. They teach them the basics, and then they teach them more complex operations, which I think makes for an interesting program where they're actually training the youth to become extremely capable factory employees. I've toured many factories. Some factories fire 5-round to confirm function, and other factories, like the AREX, fire entire magazines. I also found something else that was unique in how they conducted their testing. They fired the pistol vertically and then horizontally on both left and right side. If the pistol passed that test, then it went to another firing port where it was actually tested for accuracy. This type of testing I can't say that I've seen before in other factories. So the guys at AREX have done something very cool for our viewers. They've donated 2 handguns, which I have here, that will be made available to 2 lucky owners back in the United States. So we're in Slovenia right now. I'm going to test fire these handguns. We have 2 17-round magazines. I'm going to test fire them, sign the boxes, and then when we get back to the United States, these are going to be imported by the FIME Group. And then if you want more information on how you might become one of the lucky owners of one of these 2 pistols, which again, I'm going to sign the box and test fire, swing by the Copper Custom website for more information, which we'll have posted shortly. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and test fire both of these pistols. All right. Part of the testing protocol is that every single handgun that's produced will have 2 full magazines fired through it, and then 10 rounds will be fired to confirm 0 of the sights. So I'm going to do the function test here for you guys. I have 17 rounds loaded. Load the weapon, make it ready. I'm going to go ahead and decock it to test the double action functionality. Now, one thing they noticed that was really interesting about their testing protocol is that they'll also test it sideways. And then it locks open. Weapon's clear. Another 17 rounds. Weapon is clear. We'll lay that one down. And here we go with the second pistol. I'm gonna go ahead and decock this one in the first magazine. All right, second magazine, decock. All right. Weapon's clear. And there we go, guys. I've test fired these 2 pistols. Now all I have to do is sign the boxes for you here really quick. Just set the pistols aside. That's the black pistol. And then for the flat dark earth pistol, there you go. All right, guys, swing by the Copper Custom website to find out how you can get one of these 2 pistols. Something that I found to be really interesting was the fact that they had manufactured 2 pistols. One of the handguns was presented to President Trump, and its sister pistol resides here in Slovenia in this cabinet, along with early prototypes and mock-ups. That's pretty cool.
This is a hand-engraved solid silver. Of course, Nevada being the silver state, made this gun as a tribute to the Trump campaign, Make America Great. And this was presented to Donald Trump and accepted on behalf of Donald Trump by Mike Pence at the infamous debate with Hillary Clinton in Las Vegas. So this is an exact replica of the one that was presented. There's only, I believe, 3 in existence. Vartan has one, there's one here in this factory, and then of course Donald Trump has the other one.
The FIME Group is a US-based importing company. The FIME Group is the company that had originally discovered the AREX series of pistols and made arrangements to import them into the United States. And they were also the group that took us to Slovenia so we could see firsthand how the pistols were manufactured.
It was IWA in 2014 that we came across the AREX pistol. Very impressed with it at the show. From there, we ended up having negotiations and touring the factory over the next 6 months, going back and forth. One of the things that we were so impressed with was how state-of-the-art the factory was. The fit and finish and quality on the gun was there from the beginning, and after that, we just worked on preparing that pistol for the U.S. marketplace, making sure that we had something that when it got to the U.S., absolutely no one could complain about. It was a very easy job to be able to do that because of how state-of-the-art the facilities were, how dedicated they were to sticking to mil-spec technology, not deviating from it, and making sure that everything that comes out of that place either meets the standard or surpasses it, and most everything surpasses the standards there. We were able to debut the 1S at SHOT Show of 2016, and then from there we've come out with 2 additional models for a total of 6 variations on the 3 total models.
The first introduction I got to the gun, of course, was that I got one. Like you, I said, this looks an awful lot like a SIG. Let's see what happens. And I ran them through what would become known as the gauntlet tests. And I'll be quite honest with you, I had the same opinion. You know, I really expected the SIG to come out on top, right? Because we have this to hell and back reliability marketing in the United States, and we thought, well, there's just simply no, and like you, I've had very good experiences with SIG P226s. And needless to say, the Slovenian Slugger actually came out on top by a wide margin, and so that spawned a whole series of tests, which the Slovenian Slugger is still on top. I think the CZ came close, but everything else has pretty much not even been a comparison. So it was interesting for me to come here to see where this pistol was made.
I think that video sold more handguns than anything else, you know.
Totally unintentional, and they didn't pay me to do it either.
So one fun fact about that, that probably nobody knows, we were planning to film the video just the next day. We were planning with Grega, you know, for a couple of weeks to do a really big stress test with SIG P226 and SIG MK25, you know, and compared to Rex, and do. We were planning to do the NATO standard tests because they have the machines, they have the freezer, everything, you know.
And then I showed up.
I saw the video. I just canceled the range. Just like shit, you know. I was really pleased with the video, but also, you know, disappointed because we couldn't do it because everyone would say that we just copied you.
Right.
But there's also a big part of pride because this is a Slovenian product, right? And I was proud. People called me that don't own firearms here, you know, but they know that we deal with firearms, you know, and they linked the video and called me and, do you know that that pistol, you know, it beat the SIG and everything. It was awesome. It was really awesome.
We came to Slovenia to check out the manufacturing for the Rex Zero 1S pistol, which is already on the US market, but when we got here, we found out that we were going to be surprised with an announcement of 2 new pistols that will be introduced to the US market. One of the first pistols that we'll see probably sometime this fall, winter, is the Rex Zero 1S pistol, which I have here in my hand, but it has a nickel plating. Let's call it a nickel plating, but it's not a traditional nickel plating that was done around the turn of the century you might be thinking of, where with use it flakes off. This nickel plating is bonded with the steel, the surface of the steel, and should not flake, we're told. Now you also notice that this pistol is wearing walnut grips. So the walnut grips will be an add-on accessory. So the nickel gun isn't going to be imported with the walnut grips. I'm just showing you the walnut grips. You'll be able to buy them from the FIME Group and put them on any one of your Rex pistols, any one of the existing Rex 01S pistols out there. So this gun has otherwise all the same features, has a loaded chamber indicator on the top, has the standard low profile 3-dot sights. We have a frame mounted safety here, so you have a 1911 style safety. Of course, it's double action, single action. And over here on the other side, we have again that safety lever. And then we have what I find to be interesting about the pistol is that this one lever drops the slide, press it again, and it decocks the pistol. So if you're familiar with the SIG P226, you have two separate levers for those functions. This lever combines quite naturally those two functions into one lever. You have the ambi mag release, which is on both sides of the pistol, and it has aluminum frame. So this pistol I think has been fairly popular in the US market already, but it doesn't end there. Come 2018, around SHOT Show, you should be able to find more information about this gun, and this is the one that has me really excited. And this is the new Rex Alpha. The Rex Alpha is a competition-ready handgun. It has completely different, well, maybe not completely different, but different ergonomics on the pistol grip. It feels more narrow, a little bit more slender, more ergonomic. It also features a steel lower versus the aluminum lower of the 1S pistol. Then, of course, you have the steel upper. We've gone from a 4.2-inch barrel on the 1S pistol to the Alpha having a 5-inch barrel. It also has an adjustable rear sight, and then the front sight has a day glow fiber optic in it that you guys will be familiar with if you use true glow sights or anything like that. Big, bright red dot sight when you're shooting in ambient light conditions like today. There's some lightning cuts that are done to the pistol and to reduce the weight, but the gun definitely is heavier and it feels good. Recoil is really, really nice on this handgun. We're shooting, I think they said the power factor was what was the power factor on the 9mm? 130? We were shooting 9mm rounds that have a power factor of 130 through the handgun, and the recoil was very, very manageable. Double taps, controlled pairs were very easy to pull off accurately. So the handgun shoots very well. It still maintains the pick rail here on the bottom, and now it has a 20-round magazine, which will ship with the gun, that has, of course, ambi releases on both sides of the handgun, but now you have the option of putting an extended release on it, which is held in place by a screw that you can move to either side of the pistol. So if you're a right-handed shooter, you'll get that extended magazine release on the right hand, or if you're a left-handed shooter, move it around to the other side. Now you have an extended magazine release on the left hand. Another thing that's interesting is you now have a 1911 style ambi safety, so you'll notice the safety is riding really high. Now another thing that's neat about the Rex pistols is that with the safety engaged, I can still operate the action of the handgun. Unlike a 1911 with the safety engaged, it locks the slide. So you can make the weapon safe, charge it, and leave it on safe, holster it for competition use. Now it is a double action, single action trigger mechanism in the Alpha, but the emphasis is on single action. And I say that, notice how I'm lowering the hammer? That's because it does not have the decocker of the 1S pistol. It has just a standard slide release. So slide, stop, slide, release, you press it and reload. So gone is the decocker. Again, the emphasis is on single action mode for competitive reasons. So overall, this handgun feels really good, shoots really good, and I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on one in the United States, hopefully sometime in early 2018. I don't know the release date, I just know that at SHOT Show they plan to announce this pistol formally. So I look forward to seeing this one on the market. Prices on each of these pistols, not available yet, so I couldn't tell you guys exactly what the price will be on them just yet, but do look to the FIME Group's website for information on the nickel handgun, again, later this fall, and then stay tuned for SHOT Show 2018 for more information on the Alpha. I have quite a bit of experience with the Rex 01S pistols. I've shot them quite a bit. I've even run them through the gauntlet. But some folks have never shot the handgun. James from TFBTV had never shot the Rex 01 pistol before. It's amazing the fact that James actually gets to shoot it for the very first time in this country of origin in Slovenia. But not only that, this is his first factory tour. So there are a lot of firsts here. It's interesting to hear James's perspective.
I even think the factory tour was necessary for me to really understand whenever I came out here and shot it today, because I feel like if we had skipped the factory tour, I'd get out here and I'd say, okay, what the hell's going on with these pistols? You know, they're giving us some like rigged guns because they shot very well. But I was completely unsurprised today after I saw the factory yesterday. And it was a state-of-the-art facility. First time I'd ever been in a factory, and I was thinking to myself, coming to Slovenia, it's gonna be like an ex-com block country. These guns are not gonna be impressive. It's gonna be like little kids in there making them with little hand tools, and it couldn't be further from the truth. State-of-the-art machinery. They've got people in there hand assembling the guns, polishing the chambers, polishing the feed ramps, and then proof testing it. And before they even get there, they've got the birth certificate where they track who installed what, when the pistol was born. Again, coming out here today, I was actually unsurprised. And so I'm glad I had that base layer of going into the factory, checking it out, and that way it kind of made sense to me, and the performance that I saw today is pretty much what I expected based exactly on what I saw yesterday.
One of the best parts of the whole trip was the fact that we got to hang out with our friends from Polenar Tactical. Yes, the country of origin for Polenar Tactical is Slovenia. They're quite a bunch of characters. They know how to have a good time, but they were also quite fun to hang out with. They went on the tour of their capital city with us, which is Ljubljana. But they also attended the factory tour, and we got to spend an entire day on the range shooting the firearms from the AREX factory with them. I have to say, it was probably one of the best times I've ever had.
My experience with the Rex Zero pistol is about 2 years of shooting with it, competing. I would say about 10,000–15,000 rounds through it. And I really like it. It's similar to a SIG. I actually own a SIG P226. I like it. And at the beginning, you know, I thought that it wouldn't live up to it. But with every use, you know, with every shooting, I just got more fond of it. For me, there is a slight difference in recoil. I think the Rex is a bit flatter shooting, more mild recoil. I prefer the trigger, even if it's maybe for some people it's heavier than a SIG, but for me I really like the clean, crisp break and very audible reset. The accuracy, I would say it's slightly better than my SIG. Again, I'm comparing with the SIG because it's the most similar pistol. I could say that that's contributed to the cold hammer forge barrel. They make it from one piece and then they machine it, so it's high quality, and they also use a tanifer finish inside the barrel. And by their info, I think that kind of finish is actually more accurate and lasts longer than hard chrome. So right now I'm at around 15,000 rounds, so I will push it to where it will go, and we'll see. We'll check that out.
I hope you guys enjoyed taking a factory tour of the AREX facilities. I was really surprised to see just how modern that facility is, and also get a chance to see that they manufacture things other than the Rex Zero 1 pistol. Plus, we got a sneak peek at some new products that should be rolling out just before SHOT Show and at SHOT Show, which is a really cool thing to be able to see some stuff that's coming before it actually gets here. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed that type of a video, or this type of a video, and if you want to see more, please support us here at the Military Arms channel. You can do that a couple of different ways. First of all, check out our new shirts. We're working with Forged from Freedom. We have our entire line of Mac shirts. A lot of you guys have been asking for them. We now have them. Follow the link down below and pick up your own Mac shirt and support the channel. Another way to support us, guys, is to become a patron subscriber. Through Patron, we can actually have a direct line of communications. We can post behind the scenes information just for you guys, and I answer all of your emails and PMs and questions directly. We also do giveaways. Freedom Munitions gives away $100 worth of ammunition to 2 lucky Patreons every month. And we do special deals through Copper Custom as well. We give you guys as much back as we possibly can for helping to support us during the demonetization phase here at YouTube. And it's hitting not just the Military Arms channel, guys. It's hitting other gun channels. It's hitting channels that aren't even firearms related. So I also ask that you not just support Mac on Patreon, but I also ask that you guys support your other favorite content creators. So pick up a shirt, that helps. Swing by, become a Patreon, that certainly helps. And also swing by and check out Copper Custom. It's our online store. That helps as well, and that's coppercustom.com. Guys, thanks for all the support over the years. Thanks for watching. And now it's time for that last 15 rounds. and we get to head home. Yep, what a great shooting pistol. If you haven't checked out the Rex 01 pistols, guys, check them out. Pretty neat little guns. Thanks for watching.